Welcome to the NWI.com Political Roundtable for Thursday, August 23rd. I'm Robert Blaszkiewicz, Assistant Managing Editor of The Times. Joined with me, Doug Ross, Editorial Page Editor of The Times. Mark Kiesling is out for now, so hopefully he'll be back soon. Let's start by talking about kind of the political topic du jour, which is Todd Akin, the Missouri congressman who's running for Senate there, who created quite a bit of controversy. He's a Republican, created a controversy over words he said over about rape and whether women who are raped can get pregnant, and it obviously created a lot of problems for Republicans. They urged him to drop out of the race. He didn't drop out of the race. He's still running, but at the same time, there could be implications for us in Indiana here. What are those, Doug?
Well, the big implication is that the Republicans who were investing in this Senate race in Missouri could very easily start putting their money into the essentially, neck and neck tied race in Indiana.
Right. There were a lot of political action committees like Karl Rove's American Crossroads and other groups that were going to invest heavily in that Missouri race because Claire McCaskill, the Democrat, is seen as very vulnerable, and it was seen as a possible pickup.
And now she's up by 10 points.
So they're writing that one off, and they will obviously be targeting other potential pickups. So
and frankly, Indiana is the one they want to look at because it's currently a Republican, held by Senator Dick Lugar, who of course lost in the primary to Richard Murdoch, and it looks like Joe Donnelly, who's congressman right now in the 2nd District, he's the Democratic candidate running for Senate. It's looking pretty good for him, I think.
The race is polling at a dead heat.
Exactly.
So considering that Murdoch has had a lot of exposure in being in a high-profile primary with Lugar, it is a good sign for Donnelly that it's polling at a dead heat.
Right, and while Donnelly is currently in Congress, he's which gives him good name recognition in that district statewide. He wouldn't have that because he's not in a statewide office like Murdoch is. Yeah. So,
well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of money comes in. And obviously, we won't see it up here. We never see ads up here. But in the rest of the state, they could be inundated with outside advertising money going.
And the bizarre thing about this is that nobody seems to have resurrected the issue yet about the Republican angle on science, because here this candidate Akin was talking about what is was scientific back in the day, but the day was the Middle Ages, and you look at the Republican views on climate change and some of these things, and they've been under attack for a number of these in the Bush White House.
It's something that a candidate like Mike Pence, who's very conservative, who's been kind of on that side of the issue, his views are very much in line with someone like Todd Akin. Maybe that's going to come up in the gubernatorial race.
Right, and this is a good opportunity for Pence to say, look, I'm not like him, and quickly quell any fears.
Right. Switching topics now. Something that has been on the minds of a lot of Northwest Indiana residents is what's been going on with the bad fuel, the fuel recall that was instituted by BP after massive reports of engine problems due to a bad batch of gasoline that seemed to be sold.
A huge bad batch.
Yeah, that was sold all over the region. Doug, what do you think of BP's response?
Well, I think they should have learned from the oil spill in the Gulf. Frankly, to have a huge mobilization of the troops for crisis.
You would think that crisis management would be something that they would have well in hand by now. But it doesn't seem to. I mean, we heard of people waiting up to 2 hours or more on the phone just to talk to a human being about their problem. It seems like they would have been well served to get information out, and in this day and age with the internet, their information can be disseminated very quickly, very easily, and they really kind of failed in doing that.
Right. I mean, we're not looking for a video of the CEO banging his head on the wall, which might well be doing. But it would be good to say, look, we don't have the. It takes time to put the people in place to answer your calls. We're very concerned about them. But meanwhile, here's how to go online and promote the heck out of it.
Right. Here are the we know these stations sold this gas, and then here's what you can do. You can save your receipts from your repair bills, and then here's the process to go about getting reimbursed. They put that kind of basic information out there. It would have saved a lot of people, a lot of time on the phone, and it would have saved them some face from what has been kind of a PR nightmare.
Right, and you look at the polling for respect for different industries, and the oil industry is pretty much the bottom of the barrel, ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of industry and in the environment, we had the EPA, a court ruling out of the district court in Washington, D.C. that has some impact here and drew some reaction. It was a ruling on whether air pollution can kind of be grouped across state lines. The way it is with us in our attainment zone, we're kind of grouped with the Chicago metro area here in Northwest Indiana in terms of whether we are an attainment zone, and that dictates whether we have to get our cars tested for emissions and other things like that.
And restrictions on new businesses coming in.
Yeah.
And all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
What's at issue here is that Indiana doesn't use nuclear fuel for generating electricity, or any number of other options. It uses coal. So there these issues about what's downwind, and of course living in Northwest Indiana, we see the prevailing wind is coming through the west through Illinois and headed toward Ohio. So downwind would be LaPorte County and St. Joseph County and so forth. But what the EPA is looking at is blaming, in essence, Northwest Indiana for some of the air pollution, some of the contaminants that end up in Lake County, Illinois, on the north, side of the Chicago metro area. And so, that's basically blaming us for their bad air. And to say that the Northwest Indiana shouldn't be blamed for that you're responsible for what's in your jurisdiction and not elsewhere is a big deal for economic development.
Yeah. There's a lot of and obviously there's competing interests here. There's the interest of economic development. There's also the interest of just health and
exactly.
and quality of life. In that we all enjoy breathing. So it's a good thing that the air is getting cleaner, but you have to balance that with obviously making sure that our economy is also healthy.
Right, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see what the fallout from that is.
Oh, and that's not going to stay.
Right.
That's appealed automatically.
Right. Well, that's all the time we have this week. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another political roundtable.